What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm in the middle of a run right now, just taking a quick little break. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content lately. In today's video, I want to talk about my recruiting story, how I got to the point of playing D1 basketball, some of the adversity that I faced in the process of getting to D1 college basketball, because it was no means easy, but it was probably the best experience of my life thus far. So 1 mile down, we got 1 more mile to go. So sit back, enjoy the vlog, and be sure to subscribe to the channel.
All these horses in my car got me going fast. I just run through the dash, put my pedal to the gas. Going so fast, hope I don't crash. One false move that could be
In front of you, go get it. Let's go.
Take it on 3, 1, 2, 3, take it! All right, guys, I want to preface the video with just saying that I'm not making this to brag in any sort of way, or to kind of show off that I play Division I basketball. So what? Who cares? So many people play Division I basketball, play Division II, Division III. So I'm not the only one that's done this before. It's very, very possible these days to get recruited to play at some level in college. I want to motivate you guys who maybe are younger players and your dream is to play college basketball and get a scholarship, and show you that it's possible. You don't have to be the best player, the fastest player on your team in order to play college basketball and to get a scholarship. I feel like I'm a perfect example of that. I was really rarely the best player on my teams, except when I was younger maybe. But as I got to high school and college even, I was never the best or the most dominant player on a team. I had a great career in terms of, individual accolades are great, but just team success, which to me was ultimately the most important every single year. If there's no team success, there's just always something missing. So I'm just happy to be able to say that I feel like I reached my individual potential as a player, and that my team had a lot of success along the way. So that's why I'm making this video, hopefully to motivate, inspire any of you younger players or even current players right now, to show you that where you are right now is not your ceiling. You can get so much better, and there are a lot of steps that you can take in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video.
On this day, you're not bigger than this moment. You've handled this business. You get rid of the nerves. You do what you do. You've been accepted in your baby. We do that together for this entire day.
no more gambling. Would you lay it on the line? Turn them face up, eyes against us. Every time you roll the dice.
Number 23,
Why won't you look at me? I'm trying to make you see. One of these days, gonna get it right. We can stay the night, but we only
So I was gonna show myself making my breakfast as I usually do, but because I'm having tuna this morning and I know that creeps some people out, they don't like tuna, they don't want to see it, I will save you guys from watching that. So I'll just talk. And first thing I want to talk about is where I started. So I'm from Long Island, New York, specifically Nassau County. Limbrook is the town that I'm from. And I grew up there my entire life pretty much. Went to high school at Limbrook High School for 1 year, and then I transferred to play basketball in New York City at a high school called Nazareth Regional Academy, which still up and going now. So yeah, started playing in New York. I was on the Long Island Lightning AAU team for a while, all my younger days, up until about 8th grade or so. I think I switched teams, but that's where my basketball career started. It was CYO basketball, the Catholic youth leagues, summer leagues, travel, school teams, all the basic stuff that any player can access in terms of their town teams or local teams. But after a while, you have to realize that if your goal is to get to the college level, you can't just be playing on these basic teams. But once I decided that I knew I wanted to play in college, I had to jump from one team to another, and I had to take some pretty big steps. And this was something that was not easy for me. Obviously, leaving my local town team where I knew everybody, all my friends were at my high school, where everybody's kind of mixed together all the time. That's where you're comfortable. And for me, I had to step outside of my comfort zone and, leave a school that all my friends were at. Again, I knew all the coaches, I was the best player, all that, to move to another team that's going to give me better opportunities in the long run. transferring to that Catholic school and finishing out my high school career. So I spent 3 years there from my sophomore to my senior year. Played on Nazareth's team, and we were ranked, I think my junior year, we were like top 10 in the country. Had a great rivalry with schools like Christ the King, Malloy, Lehigh, playing top of the line basketball all over New York. The best teams, the best players. My class, there was 5 of us. All 5 of us went D1. I played with Bianca Cuevas Moore, who was in South Carolina, McDonald's All-American. So, again, never really the best player on any of my teams. And this just shows you, though, that if you're playing in a competitive setting, you do not need to be the best player on your team to get attention. That's such a myth. It's so overrated, being the best player playing against nobody. So I highly recommend is to get into the best possible setting that you can in terms of competition, even if maybe your minutes go down a little bit, your scoring average goes down a little bit, because you are playing with the best of the best, and coaches can see that.
Making enemies, now it's time to leave. Dropped it on the slot and got played a fool. Why won't you look at me? I'm trying to make
their first 6 field goals, led it by 9 at the half, led it by 19 after 3. And they're going to close this out with another very, very convincing win.
All hard work.
Alright, so right now we're at the computer, we're at the workstation. We got Sabrina Ionescu's ball screen reads up on here. This is the newest video that I'm working on. I'm going to be comparing Sabrina Ionescu and Kennedy Carter and their use of the ball screen, why they're so good at it, all that. So that's going to be a really good video. I'm excited to make this one. I've been watching a ton of them play. 2 of the best point guards, off guards. They kind of both play the 1 and the 2 in the game. So, got the full iMac setup right here. So I absolutely love this thing. I'm going to have to get one for my apartment. So yeah, going to be here for a couple more hours doing this, sipping on a 3D. This is like my new favorite flavor right now, the blue 3D. So, all right, Kennedy Carter with the ball off the ball screen. Look at that footwork. That was just ridiculous. Like, hold on. That was ridiculous. Watch this. Watch this footwork. Screen. So the girl stays tight, stays right on her hip. She's going over. Now Kennedy can just dribble right into space. The big is sinking. She has all this space to work with. So let's just slow-mo this and watch this. So she's got all that space. This big is toast right now. She's coming full speed. This big cannot stay in front. Her girl is trailing behind the screen. She's going to do a nasty little between the leg, pull it to space, and then she's just going to lift and elevate right over the big. That's just filthy.
I'm jumping at the band, yeah. And I know I sound dramatic, yeah.
but I know how to have it. Yeah, for the money in my side.
Alright guys, it is much later in the night. I literally spent the last like 5 hours just on the computer watching film and editing clips that I had cut out and wanted to edit for a while. So I caught up on that, did a whole bunch of editing. So I got a whole bunch of basketball posts going up in the next couple of days. But quickly before I head to bed, so carrying on with my recruiting story, my freshman year at the end of the season, I ended up tearing my ACL. This was when I was still in Long Island before I had made the jump to the new school. So at the end of the season, it was like March, tore my ACL as a freshman, so knew I would be sitting out my entire sophomore year, which was obviously really discouraging, but it gave me a year to kind of settle in at the school and just practice before having to really compete at that really high level. I know a lot of you can probably relate if you've had an injury. I know girls basketball ACL injuries are like the most common thing, even in high school these days. It happens left and right, but it's just going to show you that an injury is not going to define your future, right? Just because you get hurt as a freshman or sophomore with an injury as bad as an ACL tear, your career is not over. You can come back from those and be even better. You guys can see, and you can use me as an example of somebody who, went through a pretty serious injury at a young age and was still able to get a scholarship and, play at the level that I was supposed to play at. So don't let any injuries kind of discourage you. Obviously, it's going to be a tough time recovering and all that, but you got to keep a positive mindset, keep your eye on the prize, and, keep moving forward each and every day so that you can get better and be even better than you were before these. Wow, they just uploaded Grey's Anatomy season 16. I might need to start that tonight. But right now, I'm in the middle of finishing up Ozark. So I think I was watching this like the last time I vlogged too. Season 3, so do not tell me what happens. I heard season 3 was really good. It better be, because season 2 is just okay. So I know there's been a lot of talking in this video, but this is going to be my entire recruiting story, so I'm going to go into detail, not leave anything untouched. And this is YouTube, so this is where I kind of talk and I can make the videos as long as I want. So sorry if you're getting bored, but I'm sharing the entire journey, just trying to help as many people as I possibly can. But we'll talk about the rest of the story and the process in the morning.
Let's take you to the bottom of the bracket, but we stay here in Portland. We get you to the 6-11 matchup. South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, one of my favorite. Literally one of my. I do. I really do. They finished 26-6. They won the Summit, and they're having a watch party at Cubby's, and so hopefully, eventually, I hope we get to see it. But they're on a 16-game winning streak. Quinnipiac, we all love them. Headed back to the dance for the 5th time in 7 seasons.
Yeah, Quinnipiac, they're led again by Jen Fay, Aaron McClure. This is a team we saw a couple seasons ago go to the Sweet 16. Those players have some experience, and it's pronounced Quinnipiac, everybody.
I'm never gonna get it right. I'm not even gonna try. The Cinderella team, they've made it to the Sweet 16. There you go, Trisha Fabry. She's already up in her chair, from her chair.
Yeah, we'll take that. I'm surprised she was sitting down at all.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Sunday, just getting some work done outside since it's nice out. So back to the recruiting process. It was not until going into my junior year that I got my first signs of interest. So sophomore year, summer, after AAU season, I got a couple letters, a couple phone calls, nothing crazy going into my junior year in terms of coaches being interested. Then everything really started to snowball effect, and after my high school season of my junior year, I was able to pick up a lot more offers and a lot more interest from schools after that high school season. So I think it's really crucial that if you have a good summer in AAU, you make sure you start talking to coaches, introduce yourself, let them get to know you, and then they'll follow you into your high school season the following couple months, obviously, right after that. So that's really where you're going to pick up your interest, is if you can, keep your level of play high throughout AAU and then carry that into your high school season. So that is when I started picking up the most interest. I started taking a couple of visits. So I visited Northeastern, Quinnipiac, VCU. We did some team visits. Again, my team was really good. Not trying to brag, but just trying to show that if you're playing on a good team, it's going to be a lot easier to get exposure. So we did some team visits. We went to St. John's. So we, as a team, we traveled together, met the coaching staff, all of that. So those were a lot of fun. and then also took some visits on my own. So that is when everything kind of started to build up. But gonna get back to some work, gonna watch some film. Super nice day again. Happy Mother's Day. Mom, thank you for everything that you do. But yeah. Headed to go pick up the Mother's Day dinner, ordered from another local spot in Carolina Beach. Then I'm gonna surprise my mom, get her favorite ice cream. She loves this ice cream place in town, so I'm gonna pick up some ice cream for her later too. Riding in style today. Love this Jeep, man. It is so nice out in Carolina Beach. I absolutely love it down here. All right, guys, so at this point, I just finished up my entire, high school season. It's like April, May. I'm on top of the world, getting calls all the time, starting to actually narrow down my list. So having the luxury to kind of cut schools out that I'm not really interested in. I didn't want to be in the city. I didn't want to stay in New York. So there were a couple things that kind of were deal breakers for a lot of schools. Listen here. Boom. And now I head into my last AAU season with the idea in mind of just trying to pick up a couple more schools, realizing that, okay, maybe I can pick up some bigger schools this summer. I have a good list of the schools that have been contacting me, and, just going to AAU feeling pretty good about everything and just wanting to have like a really fun and enjoyable last AAU summer going into my senior year. So at that point, I had schools that were really wanting me, like that was Quinnipiac, that was always at my games, Richmond, Northeastern, UNC Wilmington. So those were like the 4 or 5 schools that I really, really was interested in and that really showed the most love to me. So by the end of the summer, I cut my list down. Those 4 schools I cut my list down to. So it was Northeastern, Quinnipiac, Richmond, and UNC Wilmington. So by the time August came around, the only school out of those 4 that I hadn't visited yet was Richmond. So I had my visit scheduled for August. I went down and I absolutely loved the campus. The facility was in the process of getting redone, so it was going to be a brand new gym. My parents really liked it. I remember saying to my mom that I want to commit, like right now on the spot. But I remember my parents kind of saying, take a day. You can't just commit like right on the spot. Don't be impulsive. Think about it. This is a big decision, obviously. So I remember I go home, and then I'm ready to commit. Like a couple of days later, my parents were like, all right, go ahead, go for it. So this is when everything just turned. The tides turned. I'm on top of the world. I make the call. I'm ready to commit to the school. I'm like, hey, coach, like I'm ready, to be a Spider. It's the Richmond Spiders, whatever. I'm ready. I want to come to Richmond. And all of a sudden, like the phone, he just kind of goes blank on the phone. And I'm like, expecting, a little bit of a reaction to be more excited. But instead, he says, hey, Jen, like, unfortunately, we had one more spot left that you could have taken, but somebody just committed right before you. So we don't have any more scholarships left. So I just remember like my heart dropping. I remember exactly where I was. I was at an open gym at Lindbergh High School over the summer. And I remember literally my heart dropping, like a pit in my stomach, and just being so upset. And of course I'm just like, oh wow, like, get off the phone pretty quickly after that. Go home immediately and just like, I'm so upset. I remember I was like crying at home and my parents were like, Jen, like this happens for a reason. Like this happened for a reason. It wasn't meant to be. The very next day, my parents were like, you need to go to the school that wants you the most, because a school that really wants you that badly wouldn't have taken somebody else over you in that last spot. They would have waited out for you as long as they possibly could if they really, really, really wanted you. At the end of the day, obviously schools have to make decisions. If you're going to wait out a really, really long time, they're not going to wait for everybody. So you need to go where you are wanted the most. And I knew in the back of my head what school wanted me the most. I was just trying to almost like ignore it, and I don't know why at that point. So I tried to, commit to Richmond, where the head coach didn't really love me that much. I was more attached to the assistant coach. So when I was on the visit at Richmond, I remember looking back now and I was like, the assistant coach was the one who I really sparked a relationship with right away. It wasn't the head coach. So when I called to commit to the head coach, and he told me the spot was gone, it obviously didn't mean as much to him than it did to me. And I realized that my relationship with the head coach wasn't as good as it was with the assistant coaches. So that was my lesson moving forward, right? So now I'm thinking about, okay, Quinnipiac, I've spoken to every single coach on that staff. You know, they've all like been reaching out to me as much as they possibly can. I feel good about each and every one of them. So I was like, this is a school that I got to go to. They want me the most. They're willing to wait for me. And, you know, it's not even fair to them at this point. I got to commit here. This is where they're going to take care of me, and, you know, we can really build something special. They're coming off, you know, being in the championship game. They're moving to a new conference, like all that. So right away, the next day, I called, committed, and I got the reaction that, you know, a head coach and a player should get when somebody commits to a school, and that's, you know, happy, right? So I call, I remember I commit, everyone's super excited. I had to, each one of the coaches then after that called me to congratulate me. So that's when you really know that all those coaches are on the same page. And this is my biggest piece of advice to any one of you guys. If you're, you know, wanting to play college basketball, if you're in the middle of the recruiting process, is to make sure that you have a relationship with each and every coach. It can't just be one coach that really likes you and you haven't really heard from any of the other coaches, because at the end of the day, they're all on staff. The head coach makes the ultimate decision. They make the ultimate call. So you have to have established some sort of rapport with that coach too. So again, go where you're wanted. This was kind of a crazy way for my recruiting journey to kind of end. You know, I was on a high and then got shocked by some pretty, you know, heartbreaking news, quote unquote, like that I couldn't go to the school that I initially wanted to go to. I'm so glad for how everything turned out, but that's my biggest piece of advice for any of you who are, you know, in the process of finding the right school and the right fit for you, is to go where you are wanted the most.
Black leather glove, no sequin. Buckles on the jacket, it's elite shit.
All right, guys, so after I committed to Quinnipiac, the rest is history. You know, we won a bunch of championships, had a great career. I absolutely loved every second of it. You can go check out my older videos if you want to see my senior year, kind of me as a player as opposed to being a coach. So kind of, you know, you see our team, you see the game footage, all the stuff. That's when this whole YouTube channel started. So I'm so thankful that I decided to pick up the camera and record our entire senior year, because I have those memories forever now. And that's just my 2 cents on the entire recruiting process, any tips that I can give you. And I just want to show you guys that it is possible. Again, you don't have to be the fastest, quickest, strongest, best player in the world to get recruited. And I just wanted to show you guys that the recruiting process is not perfect. It has its ups and downs. You might get lucky, you might get unlucky, but you just got to keep pushing through all the hardships that you might have, all the doubts in your head. You got to believe that you're good enough to play at a certain level, and you got to be willing to put in the work to get there. So with that being said, I'm going to close out the video here, finish up the rest of this Michael Jordan documentary, and I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We got more coming, a lot of big updates coming soon.
I don't know what's wrong with me, I can't stop, oh, yeah, won't stop, oh, yeah, never stop. Got so many ops, I be mistaken ops for other ops. Got so many people that I love out of trouble spots.